From the Digital Media Center on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English, winner of the 2017 Southern Oregon Television Award for Program of the Year and the Best Education Show. Ramping Up Your English is an educational support program for intermediate English learners. It's a program for people from all language backgrounds. Ramping Up Your English is also for people of all ages. Now, if you've already passed the beginning stages of learning English and you want to reach higher levels of proficiency, this program is designed to meet your needs. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher levels of English proficiency. This is episode B10. Now, just in time for the holidays, this episode is a free bonus for viewers of Ramping Up Your English. See, our first 32 episodes were in our unit on trains and railroads, and I promised that if I had more train footage to share with viewers, that I would make it available to RVTV Voices and on the archive. Well, I'm keeping that promise today. Here's some high-definition video I recorded on my annual rail trip to Louisiana. The first section is the ride on Amtrak's Coast Starlight from Klamath Falls to Los Angeles. Let's see that video. There's very little as exciting to a rail fan as the arrival of a passenger train. My wife Liz, her dad, and I boarded Amtrak's Coast Starlight in Klamath Falls, Oregon, just like this one in Paso Robles, California, heading south to meet another train in Los Angeles. And you're invited along for the ride. This California wildlife refuge greeted us as we awoke from hours of darkness. The Coast Starlight was passing through the vast Sacramento Delta, filling our window with wetlands teeming with birds. We saw many coots here, a duck-like waterfowl with a white bill. At times, they seemed to be racing our train. The Sacramento Delta forms a vital support for numerous bird species who feed and rest here. That's not surprising since the Delta is located along the Pacific Flyway, a path for seasonal migration for many species. Even without the birds, it's a beautiful landscape. We don't call this the Bay Area for nothing. There's lots of shoreline here and plenty of bay views from the train. While it's easy to imagine yourself far from civilization out here, California freeways seem to remind you that this is a major urban area, home to millions of people. Some of those people are homeless, setting up camps along the railroad tracks. One prominent landmark is the Martinez Bridge, parallel to the highway bridges of Interstate 680. Let's listen as the railroad bridge takes us high above the entrance to San Pablo Bay.
big ship coming up. Really big.
We emerged from the bridge to the numerous refineries on the other side. This is where crude oil is turned into gasoline and other fuels. These huge tanks provide storage.
Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Martinez, California, coming right up.
As we got closer to the station, we saw these statues of great white herons. We hadn't seen them in previous years because we had been on the other side of the train. We had also missed this old steam engine and tender. Here is Martinez Station, a transfer point for people boarding the San Joaquin for Bakersfield and the stations in between. On the side of the train opposite the depot, we looked out as the Coast Starlight eased out of the station, and we were soon treated to views of the bay. These old pilings along the shore must have supported something in the past. Now I could only imagine what had been here at the edge of the water. No imagination was needed here. There's still industry here on this edge of the bay. I was thankful for this view of some bridges, but you can't take such views for granted. This is an old sugar mill. I had driven across this old bridge many times when leaving San Francisco. It's the Vallejo Bridge. Now there's a new span for incoming traffic. There are places along here where you can look across the bay and see the city of San Francisco, but you have to look quickly before the view is gone. South of San Jose, the Coast Starlight enters the fertile Salinas Valley. This is California's salad bowl, where produce is cultivated and harvested. Most of the country's lettuce is grown here, along with spinach and other healthy greens. The fertile soil, irrigation, and the climate combine to make this the ideal location to grow these essentials. It's winter as we pass through, a time of rest for farmers from some regions. Not here. Crops are rotated throughout the year. Migrant labor does most of the hard work of harvesting this bounty. Here, the fields are being prepared and planted for another season. Water from the Salinas River drains into Elkhorn Slough. This estuary provides critical habitat for coastal birds and marine mammals from the Pacific Ocean. In 2009, Liz and I took a boat tour of this slough. From the point of view of the small boat, we saw that Elkhorn Slough is teeming with life. We also saw the train tracks from the slough. A great amount of estuarine research is done here by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency and other organizations. The Nature Conservancy provides trails for public access. I always grab my camera when the train goes through here. Sometimes there's little to see from the train, but on our last trip, we saw a sea otter. After Salinas, the Coast Starlight arrives at the town of Paso Robles. It doesn't linger here. Paso Robles means the pass of the oak trees, and the Coast Starlight wastes no time climbing to that pass. This day it's pulling a private car.
The Patron Aquila Express.
Up here you can see where the Oak Tree Pass gets its name. And that brings us to Cuesta Pass, these mesmerizing hills mostly brown this time of year. It's from these brown hills that I saw our train's sister train, Train 14, heading north out of San Luis Obispo. Passing the northbound version of our train is a quick blur usually. I could hardly believe my good fortune in seeing it patiently making its way to the siding where we awaited it. All three locomotives were passing just outside our window. Now the sleeping cars, with sunlight flashing through the opposite windows. Light streams in to the beautifully set dining car. Seeing into the sister train like this is like watching yourself from the outside. Here's the business car, and then after that, the viewing car. It's crowded like usual. Now we see into the coaches as the sister train speeds up. Normally at a meet like this, everything is just a blur from the sister train. Not this time. Through the same window, we see our own train with two locomotives pulling us toward our next stop. And further up the hill, we see Train 14 traversing the same track we were just on, headed for Paso Robles. I've seen some really cool things riding on Amtrak, but this was the coolest of all. Top all this off with a view of the trestle, and I have to list this as one of my most memorable train rides. We arrived at San Luis Obispo a little late, and it would soon be dark when we hugged the coast. With no sunlight, my beaming with excitement would have to light our way to Los Angeles.
During that exciting day above or aboard the Coast Starlight, we arrived at Los Angeles at around 9 p.m. That gave us less than an hour to transfer our bodies and luggage to the next train, Amtrak Sunset Limited. After a day of southbound travel, our beds were already made in our roomette, and we soon were counting Z's as our sleeper rocked us into a gentle sleep. Well, when we weren't being tossed about during high speed. Let's enjoy this ride aboard the Sunset Limited eastbound Train 2 in the Amtrak system.
Amtrak Sunset Limited leaves Los Angeles Union Station at 10 o'clock at night, so it's a departure in the dark. The train moves slowly through the sparkling city lights, with passengers often falling asleep before the Sunset Limited leaves the sprawling lights of this city that never sleeps. We're headed east toward New Orleans on this route that was the pride of the Southern Pacific Railroad Empire. We awake to the big sky of the American Southwest. Whether in southern Arizona, New Mexico, or West Texas, this is all desert country. It's anything but featureless landscape, with plenty of beauty for passengers to see, and different enough to spark the imagination. The towns and the cities are spaced far apart here. Breakfast in Tucson, the small towns of Lordsburg, and others that closely follow Interstate 10. Mostly, though, it's a world of yucca plants and sagebrush, with occasional sightings of deer, pronghorns, and roadrunners. We don't see the next city until we approach El Paso, Texas, and the border with Mexico.
If you look off to the right-hand side of the train, you're going to catch a glimpse of the famous wall. Of course, this is W's wall. We got to give credit where credit is due. This is not Trump's wall. This is W's wall. In just a few moments, we're going to be passing the suburb of Anapra. That's a suburb of Ciudad Juarez in the state of Chihuahua, Mexico. Folks, that means we're going to be about 10 minutes away from El Paso, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? If you look off to the left or the right hand side of the train, we're passing over the High Bridge, crossing over the Rio Bravo. Folks these days call it the Rio Grande. John Wayne used to call it the Rio Bravo. That signifies we're passing from the state of New Mexico into the state of Texas. Welcome to Texas, y'all.
Once on the Texas side, we see new railroad ties laid down and construction of a new freeway. From here, a look out the train window gives us a view of El Paso's sister city, Ciudad Juarez, clearly visible across the border. El Paso is by no means the sleepy border town of Western movies. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. There's a lot of high-tech and financial services here, and lots of construction to go along with this economic growth. Along the border, we see the interdependence of the economics of the United States and Mexico. With all this new construction along the border, it seems to take forever for our train to reach the El Paso station. Well, that gives us a chance to appreciate this colorful scene from our neighbors in Mexico. We do finally arrive and get a view of this distinctive passenger station at El Paso. This is the first chance since Tucson, Arizona, for people to get off the train and walk around a bit. New passengers get on here, along with the wagon loads of checked bags. Along with the powerful locomotives that pull the Sunset Limited, I get to videotape a favorite car on the train. This is the viewing car, with unassigned seats facing outward and windows along the ceiling for a better look at scenery. During our 2018 trip, we saw this completed section of elevated roadway running right along the border with Mexico. Our next stop would be Alpine, Texas, with a generous amount of scenery between El Paso and there. By the time we reach Alpine, it was dark. Our stop at San Antonio, where we decouple two cars that become part of the Texas Eagle, is also under cover of darkness. The next city we see in the light of day is Houston. Besides Los Angeles, Houston is the biggest city we see on this route. We ease into the Houston platform, where many holiday travelers board for points east, especially New Orleans. There's nothing grandiose about Houston's Amtrak station. It's situated below the level of some freeways, and it's strictly utilitarian. Our stop here is usually long enough for another stretching of legs. It's a lot of checked baggage to get off and then on. When it's not stormy, it's usually pleasant to walk the platform. During our last trip, the train backed out of the station, retracing our steps when we arrived. This provided us a view of these private railroad cars. We kept backing up until we could switch to the main line. Now moving forward, we passed through construction of another freeway. The petroleum industry has built the city of Houston into an urban powerhouse. Diversification has continued that growth. Houston is now the 4th largest city in the United States. We left Houston on schedule. The next stop would be Beaumont, an easy hour or two from Houston. But we came to a stop in a swampy area and stayed there for 4 hours. A freight train ahead of us broke down. There was nothing to do but wait. We thought we'd never get to Beaumont. We did finally arrive there, and the new crew was ready to take the Sunset Limited the rest of the way into New Orleans. There was no way, though, to make up all this lost time. Outside of the Northeast Corridor, Amtrak has to rent passage on rails owned by freight companies.
Historic train station.
Orange, Texas is no longer a stop for the Sunset Limited, but it is the last town before crossing into Louisiana.
They got clobbered here by that Hurricane Harvey too. All along the Sabine.
I just saw a lot of windows boarded up.
Yeah. Orange, Texas.
We're about to cross the Sabine River, the border between Texas and Louisiana.
Sabine River. Something about you.
The Calcasieu River Bridge told me we're in Lake Charles, the first stop in Louisiana. We would detrain in Lafayette, the next stop, in the dark. The Sunset Limited would continue on to New Orleans.
I hope you've enjoyed this bonus episode of Ramping Up Your English. You might have guessed that I didn't stay in Louisiana. Watch next time for bonus episode 11, Westbound Sunset Limited and Northbound Coast Starlight. Now, I'd love to hear from you and see how you're progressing with this program. Send an email to letscreatepro@gmail.com or visit my website at letscreate.org for all the support materials for this episode, which isn't much. This is just a bonus one. But just navigate to the episode 32 page. That's where I'll post any train videos I produce since finishing that unit. Now, you can watch and even download all episodes of Ramping Up Your English at archive.org/details/roguetv. See the search box, and you can use that search box by entering Ramping Up Your English. Now, you'll find all the episodes there. Ramping Up Your English can be seen in Ashland on channel 15 or 115 on the Ashland Home Network, and in the rest of Southern Oregon on Charter Cable Channel 182. Showtimes are 8 a.m. on Mondays and 7:30 p.m. on Thursdays. Visit rvtv.sou.edu for free live streaming. Showtimes will vary in different areas. Check your local public access or education stations. I want to thank my director, Denise Ross. I want to thank my talented and dedicated crew, and I want to thank you, our viewers. All of you help make this program an award winner. Join us next time for Ramping Up Your English. I'm John Letts.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/roadtv. Join us next time on RBTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.